Good evening, everyone. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up button, hit that like button, and share this video. This evening we are going to make a nice dish of linguine red clam sauce this time. So we have our Italian whole peeled tomatoes here. We have our salt, our olive oil. We have our little neck clams here. We're not gonna make a lot. We're just gonna pretty much make one serving. And then we have garlic. We have crushed red pepper, black pepper, and some fresh parsley that I'm about to chop up. And we're also heating up the water right now as we speak. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do this evening is we're going to take our whole peeled tomatoes here, and I'm going to put them in a little food processor that I purchased. It's like a blender slash food processor. So this is the blender here, and it came with this food processor attachment. And I'm going to put it on a low setting and just a chop setting because I still want to have the little tomato chunks in the dish. So we're going to do that right now. What we're going to do is we're going to use our mini food processor that I have today right here. And I have a can of Italian whole peeled tomatoes, product of Italy. Whenever I make an Italian dish, always use products from Italy. It just works out better that way. So I'm going to mix these up in the food processor just on a low setting because I still want to have the tomato chunks inside the dish. So I'm going to put some of these in here. These tomatoes, they already smell incredible. So I now have the tomatoes inside of the food processor here, and I have it plugged in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on low, so it's on low, and I'm going to put it on the chop setting, just so we can chop up the tomatoes inside and still have some of the tomato chunks inside the Linguine Red Clam dish. So let's do that now. See, we're not going to do it too much. We want the chunks in there. So let's take a look at it really quick. And this looks pretty good. Look at that there. We have the whole peeled tomatoes, Italian tomatoes inside the food processor. And we still have tomato chunks. So that actually worked out perfectly. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside because this is going to go in our dish. So our next order of business is to chop up some fresh parsley. So we're going to do that now. We're going to bunch up the parsley right here. We'll kind of roll it up. It makes it easier to chop. We're going to chop up this parsley because it gives it an aroma and a flavor that comes out once the parsley, some of the liquid comes out of the parsley after you chop it up. So we're going to go ahead and put our parsley into a prep dish now. You can usually scoop most of it off of the cutting board with a knife. So we're going to press down on our 5 cloves of garlic here. Which makes it very easy to peel after you've done that. The skin comes right off, very easy. So now we're chopping up some fresh garlic for our dish here. When you chop up fresh garlic, it tends to liquefy, so it gets really sticky, like your hands get sticky after the fact. So always wash your hands after you finish chopping up the garlic like this because you're going to have like sticky, garlicky fingers, and you don't want that. So our pasta water has come to a boil here, so You want to salt up your water really nicely. This prevents you from having to put too much salt in your dish later. You don't want to make your dish too salty. Plus, clams already have a salty flavor anyhow. So let's go ahead and salt our water. Usually put a good amount in here. That should do it. And always I put a dash of olive oil inside my water as well, just to keep the noodles from sticking. So we're going to do our olive oil here. Just a little dash of olive oil inside the water. That's good. And what we're going to do, we're not going to cook the pasta for too long. We're going to cook it just a stage before al dente. So we're going to leave it in here for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then we will take it out off the heat and set it aside. It's going to cook the rest of the way in our clam marinara sauce. Just using a half a box of linguine, we're going to go ahead and put our linguine inside of the pot of hot water. Go ahead and dump the rest in there. We'll take our tongs and just mix it around in the water a little bit. So our linguine will cook in this pot for about 5 to 6 minutes, and then I'll take it out and set it aside. So our pasta is ready to be taken out of the pot. I've cooked it for about 5 minutes, and it's a few minutes before the al dente stage. The reason why we do that is because we want to cook the pasta the rest of the way inside the pot with the marinara and the clams. So in order to get it to al dente, you take it out of the pot of water before al dente, and it'll become al dente once it's cooking with the rest of the ingredients. So we're going to take that out now and set it aside. And I never rinse the pasta when I make a linguine and clam dish. Never rinse. Let's just take that out here. And we're going to set this aside. We're just going to let some of this water drain out a little bit. Shake it a little bit if you need to. And we're going to go set this on a plate to the side here. So we have our pasta out of the pot. So we have our clams here that have been soaking in this cold water probably for a good half hour. So this is how you clean the clams and get some of the residue and sand out of the clams, because they open and close here. But we're going to take some of this water that the clams have been sitting in, because now this water has a clam flavor, and we're going to use some of this for our marinara sauce. But I'm going to put some of this water in a cup so we're able to do that. Not a lot. We're not making a huge amount tonight. So we're just going to get a few scoops. We're just going to get a few scoops of this clam water to use in our marinara sauce. Okay, that should do it there. We have our clams all cleaned up and ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is we have our saute pan out, and we're going to get our garlic fried up here with some olive oil, and then we can start getting the clams inside. So we're going to start and get some garlic fried up here. So we have our olive oil. We're going to put some olive oil in the pan. Coat the bottom of this pan really well with a good amount of olive oil. The next thing you want to do is you want to put the next thing you want to do is you want to put your garlic in at the same time as the olive oil. You want your garlic and your olive oil to to heat at the same time so the garlic doesn't burn. So our pan is getting hot here. Our garlic is frying up real nice, as you can see. We're gonna let this fry up for a bit, but we do not want the garlic to burn. We'll be adding the clams to this garlic and olive oil in just a moment. So we are very close here to adding our clams. We're going to saute those clams in this olive oil and garlic. And we're going to add some other spices here. Having a glass of wine, by the way. I love to have wine when I'm cooking. So this pan is nice and hot now. We're going to go ahead and add our clams to the pan here. These are pretty big little neck clams. I'm really just making one serving, so let's mix this up. Now I'm going to add a little bit of salt, not too much. I'm going to add some black pepper. Not too much. And just a dash of red chili flakes. And we're going to add some parsley to the dish. And let's mix that up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some wine. I'm going to use red wine and white wine today, so I have some Pinot Grigio. Also have some Pinot Noir. And let's get that mixed up. Smells good. Now we're going to take our clam juice from the pot of water that the clams were sitting in. We're going to add that to the dish as well, because I'm going to create a little broth here. I'm also going to add a few scoops of pasta water into our dish. That should do it. And so now we're going to add our whole peeled tomatoes, our crushed tomatoes that I put into the blender. We're going to add that, and then we're going to cover this, and we need the clams to open up. So we're just going to pour that in. There we are. And let's mix that up. So let's check on our clams here. Very nice, smells wonderful. As you can see, our clams are starting to open up a little bit now. These are larger clams, so they take a little bit longer to open, but you can see them kind of creeping open here. Our clams are looking pretty good. They're starting to slowly open up. We're just going to mix this a little bit, and once these clams open up, I'll be able to add the pasta. This particular dish, you can also add other seafood. If you wanted to, you can do clams, you could do mussels, you can do scallops, you can do shrimp. And you don't necessarily have to have pasta with this. You can eat this just as a very low carbohydrate meal and just have the marinara with the seafood. You can add fish. But today, you know, I'm a linguine clam guy, so it's one of my favorite dishes. So I wanted to do a red sauce today. We're just waiting for these clams to open up. They're taking a little bit longer because these are larger little neck clams, so they take a little bit longer to cook. But we're almost ready to add the pasta. So our clams have opened up, and now it's time to add our pasta. I'm going to reduce the heat just a little bit, and we're going to take our pasta and dump it right into this sauce here and mix this up really nice. Now this pasta is not yet al dente, it's not done yet, it's kind of raw, but it's going to cook the rest of the way inside the marinara sauce with the clams. This is how you maximize the flavor. So we're just going to mix this up here. Mix this up really well. And we're not eating that much pasta today. Some of this can be eaten without pasta, so we have a lot of sauce. But we're going to let the noodles kind of sit in here and kind of soak up the flavor of the garlic, the marinara sauce, the clam juice, until they become al dente noodles. And then we're going to plate this, and we're going to be ready to go. So I reduced the heat down a little bit to like medium. And we're just gonna let that sit there and do its thing. We don't wanna like mix it up too much. I'm gonna put a little bit more parsley on top. I've already added a little bit of additional salt, and I'm gonna do a few more pepper flakes just to make a spicier sauce. Mix that just a little. This will be ready to go in about 3 minutes. So we are ready to go here. Our Linguine Red Clam dish is all the way done. We're going to plate this right away because we don't want these noodles to overcook. And the pan stays hot, so if you leave the noodles in the pan, they will overcook. So you always want to plate the entire dish immediately once it's done. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to my channel. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, share this video, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining me, and bon appetit.